Thanks for the support as a channel member, Rusty Rebel. A little bit of a break from our European adventure today because we've got two big games in the league, and if we win both of these, I think we have a very, very good chance of winning Serie A this season. Hello and welcome to Club 5, Part 7 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have two big away games in Serie A. We're away against our local rivals, Torino, who are battling to get into the Champions League themselves, and our title rivals, Inter, who have actually dropped down to third place just in the last couple of days, with city rivals of theirs, Milan, jumping over the top of them. We've just played Roma in the league and narrowly beat them as well. We've also successfully navigated Brest in the round of 16 in the Europa League. We've not yet had the draw for the quarterfinal, so there's still the possibility of Preston or Tottenham game, and that hopefully we'll get the draw for that in today's episode as well. But it was pretty comfortable against Brest. We put the first team out in the first leg, won 5-0, so the reserves got a 3-3 away draw in the second leg, and as mentioned, we got that important win over Roma in between the two as well. This is what the league table looks like. We're 8 points clear at the top of the league with 2 games in hand over Milan, 10 points clear of Inter, who we're level on games played with. So these matches today, like I say, if we win both of these, we're pretty much there and comfortable having secured Serie A, and we can then really focus in on the Europa League for the rest of the season. Still in the Europa League, Tottenham and Preston both still in there, so potential for some shenanigans coming up as well. But first, city rivals, local derby. It is Torino, and this is the team we are putting out there. We've got Secco in goal, a back four of Mansare, Leone, Sotalo and Agostini, Locatelli, Boatini and Zabozlai in midfield, with Chiesa and Baturina out wide, Vlahovic up front. Let's get this team submitted. I thought we were away in this game. Apparently we're at home. We must just be away against Inter. I don't know why I'd got it in my head these were both away games. I think we must have been away against Roma. Let's face it, home or away against Torino, we're not going to have to travel very far, are we? So it's basically the same thing, but let's have a lovely win over our city rivals, who are, of course, trying to drag themselves not into a title race. They're not going to get that far, but Champions League qualification for them would be an excellent result, and they're going to be looking to both secure that and spoil our ascension to the top of Serie A after letting Inter win the league last year. Ball over the top, and Vlahovic is in one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and Dusan Vlahovic does not miss from that kind of opportunity. He is absolutely lethal in those situations. He hits the ball so hard, so accurately. It doesn't matter that he's not got a huge amount of pace. His positioning and his anticipation get him in these bits of space that he's got there. There's no catching him, and he just kicks the ball so hard. He really, really does. 1-0 to us. That is a hugely important goal for our title push. As you can see, it puts us 13 points clear of Inter as things stand. They will have a game in hand, but I think they play that before we then play them. So we'd have the potential to go a genuine... I mean, we could be 16 points clear of Inter by the end of this episode, which would be spectacular, and like I say, all but over the finish line. Baturina is in, brings it down on his chest. It's a lovely tidy little finish across goal. The referee has got his finger in his ear, so we might be having this one chalked off. I don't see what it would have been chalked off for, and it hasn't been. I think there were questions potentially of offside, but I don't see who or where the offside would have been, and the goal has been given. It's 2-0, 35 minutes gone, and we continue to cruise, hopefully, towards a Serie A title. Lovely stuff. The question, of course, then becomes, if we do win Serie A this year, I guess we've got to do at least one more year in Italy, because we want to try and win the Champions League with Juventus. We've already won it with Tottenham and Barcelona. We'd like to win the Champions League with Juventus as well, which we're not in this year, which makes it a little bit harder to win. So we've got at least one more year here, and I am thinking about the end of the career now. I think we've talked about it a little bit before. I think win Serie A, win the Champions League with Juventus. If we can get that wrapped up by next season, I think that would probably be job done here in Italy. And then it's got to be, it's got to be back to Preston, hasn't it? We never won the Premier League. It'll be the trophy that's missing. And how could Preston have remained a a top 6 Premier League club in my time away. They're still in the quarterfinals of the Europa League. They're still competitive. I feel like going back there and doing 2 birds with 1 stone. I finally get my Premier League win and Preston finally ascend to that next level. The closest they ever got was when I was there and missed out on that Champions League spot because I deserted them partway through the season. I think it would be very fitting to end the series there. But of course, we would be relying on their current manager actually leaving at some point, which might mean that fairy tale end doesn't get to happen, in which case we might have to go back to the Premier League and manage someone else, because I don't think we can end the series without a Premier League win. That seems crazy. But we are looking good for this Serie A win. Chiesa makes it 3-0, and this has been relatively straightforward against what is a pretty good Torino side. I mean, they are performing well this year. We've said a couple of times that they're trying to push into the Champions League themselves, level on points with Napoli as it stands at the moment. They're a good team, but we have made this look pretty straightforward. Let's make a few changes in the interests of keeping old man legs fit. Because, of course, the other thing we've got to do with Juventus this summer, I'm talking in terms of winning the Champions League. Let's not pretend that's going to be straightforward with the whole squad turnover stuff that's going to be happening this summer. And we're going to try. Obviously, we'll try, but we've got 6 or 7 first teamers to replace with no money. So if we do manage to win the Champions League next year, it'll be one of the greatest non-league to legend miracles we've ever pulled off. But, you know, this season, this year's save has gone pretty well. I think we'll figure it out. We haven't got a defensive midfielder on the pitch. So Bosley can play there. I'm sure he'll be fine. And then we'll just take off. I mean, Agostini probably could have gone in there, but we're taking him off now as well. And we're 3-0 up with 10 minutes to go. I think we'll be quite fine putting Szoboszlai back into that position. He's getting old now anyway. Old means dropping back into a more defensive position, right? Pretty sure that's what it means. The Wayne Rooney rule, the Ruud Gullit rule. You get older, you start to drop deeper. That's how football works. Right, 3-0, easy peasy. I think we might be getting the Europa League draw before the next match. Otherwise, we're going to play the cup game off camera and jump straight in to Inter, which is, I mean, I know it's early in the season. It's only March, but it's effectively a title decider. I'm fairly confident there was no draw. This just appeared in my inbox. But either way, we've got Tottenham in the quarter-final of the Europa League with the possibility that we could then face Preston still further on in the tournament, assuming we make it past Spurs. So that's tomorrow's video sorted. Make sure Spurs are still nice and Spursy. Get them knocked out of Europe. Lovely old stuff. In the meantime, let's finish off that job of trying to secure this year's Serie A. This is the team. Oh, we drew in the Coppa Italia semi-final, by the way. Still don't care about the Coppa Italia, though. But this is going to be the team for the Inter game. Secco in goal, a back four of Mansoret, Leone, Sotalo, and Agostini, Locatelli, Boatini, and Gratakos in midfield. Szoboszlai and Bacciarina supporting Vlahovic up front. It really demonstrates the lack of wingers that we've got in this squad. As soon as they start to pick up injuries, Fabris is currently injured and Chiesa is being phased out because he's leaving. He's already agreed that he's going. And our starting central midfielders from earlier in the season are now playing in those wide areas. We've got that young Mexican right winger who's going to be coming in and joining us. I'm now thinking, is that this save or is that on Twitch? One moment. We're just going to nip out for a second and check we've got a Mexican right. I think we've got a Mexican right winger coming in. This is the problem with having 2 saves on the go at the same time. There's a Mexican right winger. So we do have a Mexican right winger coming in. So we've got 1 winger coming in. Obviously, we've got Fabris on the left. So once he's fit, we should have wingers for either side. But we have talked a little bit in previous episodes about the potential of maybe going to a diamond if this winger situation continues. We don't have enough strikers to do it at the moment, but if we do manage to secure this summer the long-term heir to Vlahovic and decide to play them up front together for a little while, there could still be a diamond in our future. Sotalo only scores in videos, apparently. He scored all those goals yesterday, and now he scored again, an incredibly important goal to put us 1-0 up against Inter in a massively important game. And we do all the set pieces apparently now. That's what we do. I've noticed there's a couple of former Spurs players in this Inter team as well. It's a little bit of a warm-up for what we're going to be seeing in the quarterfinal of the Europa League. Ravella was in midfield. Mudryk was knocking around in there as well. So Spurs, get used to this. We're going to beat some of your old boys, and then we're going to go and beat you properly. Is there any more Spurs old boys knocking around in the team? I think it's just those two. And there's a lot of former Spurs players who've made it to Serie A, which is interesting. It's almost as if a manager went in there and had a massive clear out and sent them off into whatever direction he could send them off into, and then bought a load of good youngsters, which apparently has still only been enough for Spurs to end up in the Europa League, which is just sad. What is Seco doing here? Trying to dribble past Satalo and has eventually decided, yeah, actually, we'll just give the ball to you. Free scoring, top goal scorer in recent episodes. You may as well have the ball. And now Gratikos to Szoboszlai and Boatini. Baturina and Szoboszlai both come very narrow. It's almost like we're playing 5 central midfielders in this match. I mean, we effectively are playing 5 central midfielders in this match, but when they both tuck in like that, rather than being extra attackers like the likes of Fabris are, they seem to be playing a little bit deeper. They're naturally more inclined to join the central midfield, and we are absolutely crowding out the central midfield, which seems to be working quite well so far. Just to hassle Inter off of the ball. Vlahovic gives it to Szoboszlai, who shoots from range. I thought that was going into the top corner. He probably had a moment longer to pick his spot there. Has the pop from range. It's a decent effort, but goes wide. And look at the state of that league table as it stands currently. The big question, of course, is going to be, can we do that again next year with half of these players having left the club? That is pathetic. I don't even know what that guy is trying to do there. It goes very high, very wide. And we move on to the next highlight, which starts once again deep in Inter's half. And Mudryk, the former Tottenham man, turns and runs and then just gives the ball away, which is a little bit weird. But it's a decent move. And there's the other former Tottenham man. And two of them have combined as part of the same move. And, well, that doesn't sit very well with me. That's unfortunate. It's 1-1. And that's going to make that league table look a little bit less pleasant. I mean, it's still looking very pleasant. I'm talking of very pleasant. That's a lovely grey suit that I'm wearing over there on the touchline. And Seco probably could have done a little bit better. With the theme of Seco being a little bit iffy seems to have been dropped in recent episodes. He has been playing pretty well for a little while now, but that one did just seem to pass straight through him. And Locatelli, dawdling on the ball a little bit there, has given the ball away. Now Mudryk is in. And if the former Spurs boys do a number on me today, I'm going to be a little less confident going into that double header that we're going to have on tomorrow's episode, which will be both legs against Tottenham. Seco collects the corner comfortably. Can we just go and do a football now, please, lads? Seco looking for options, gives it to Leone, who in turn passes it out to Mansoret and now Szoboszlai, and it's Mansoret again, and we're keeping possession quite nicely, but we're missing that little bit of cutting edge going forward. It's what I was saying before. You saw Baturina, how narrow he'd come there. It's all well and good controlling the central midfield, and we are, but we just need a little bit more going forward. We can't just rely on scoring from set pieces. We're going to have another go at one here, and it's Szoboszlai playing the ball into the penalty area, and it's dealt with pretty comfortably. And Inter have got a counter-attack on here, but they've got one man against 5 of ours, so it should be fine, and it does end up being played all the way back into their half again. So we got away with it there. That could have caused us a little bit more in the way of problem. It didn't. We always had it covered. It was always fine. But you're worrying. You don't need to worry about things like that. Oh, Kev's got it all covered for you. 1-1 then as we go into the second half. It's been very even on all of these match stats. There's very little to separate any of these stats. And I mean, that is a fair reflection of what the last 5 years of Italian football have been like. Inter and Juventus basically taking it in turns, winning the league, and there's very little between the two teams in that time as well. Boatini has picked up a little bit of a knock, so he can bring Gervasio on, another central midfielder being thrown into the mix. But we are now going to bring on some actual attacking players. Alvarez is going to come on and hopefully give us a little bit of extra spark. It is only 60 minutes in. We don't want to do loads of substitutions just yet. So just those couple for now should be fine. And we are knocking the ball around on the edge of the area, and Gratikos is the one who eventually has the effort that takes the deflection, loops up into the hands of Onana, and is dealt with pretty comfortably. But hopefully Alvarez can come on in the same kind of form he's been in some of these recent matches and make something happen for us as an extra attacking body in there. Szoboszlai now on the left-hand side, plays it back to Gratikos, who shoots from range. It's I mean, it's a very ambitious effort. If that goes in from there, it's going to be an all-time great. It didn't go in from there. And as it was just a weird highlight. We've been put on extended highlights again without me knowing. No, we are still on key highlights. We've been down that road before, but no, apparently this is as good as this game is getting. We're going to take off Vlahovic, bring on Chiesa, and put Alvarez up front, and Mansoret is tiring as well, as is Agostini. Everyone's falling apart. 20 minutes to go. We've made all 5 of our substitutions. We're going to offer a little bit of encouragement and hope that this reshuffled front three once again with Graticas and Gervasio supporting from midfield. Between one of them, hopefully we can grab a goal from somewhere. Even if it's just another Sotalo set piece. We have been the better team in this final half hour of the game, but it's actually going to be Inter with the corner, and it's Inter who've scored. It's Lautaro Martinez from the corner, beating us at our own game with only 2 minutes left in the match. We're going to demand more, but I think we're going to be suffering defeat here against Inter, which, I mean, I did say if we win, we're pretty much guaranteed the league title. Even in defeat, we're still 10 points clear of them. Yes, they've got a game in hand, but I think we're still good for winning the league anyway. But that is a big moment for Inter and certainly keeps this title race a little more interesting for a little longer. That being said, we are going to ignore the league tomorrow and focus on defeating Spurs, and then we'll worry about the league again next week. We've got to deal with Spurs. I can't be losing to Spurs or else the series is over. It won't be over, but it'll feel like it's over. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.